Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to a new video. Today, I want to dive deeper into Lee Sin's mechanics and give you some updated tips for Lee Sin combos and even some brand new tips and tricks I've yet to discuss before here on my channel. So if you're an aspiring Lee Sin player or you're even an experienced Lee Sin player looking to take your Lee Sin to the next level, then look no further than today's video. Now, when you think of Lee Sin mechanics, you probably think of the basic Insect, the Kick Flash, or maybe a combination of the two. But these topics have been covered numerous times by numerous people. So today, I want to take Lee Sin's mechanical abilities one step further and get into some of the more complex topics regarding how to be a better Lee Sin player mechanically. There's really no easy way to present this information because of how intricate the information is, but I will do my best of trying to explain today's tips. So let's start with talking about how to land more of your Qs on Lee Sin. Now this might be funny coming from me, seeing as how I tend to miss a lot of my point blank Qs or easy to land Qs, but there is a method to all the madness when it comes to becoming better at landing your vital skill shot on Lee Sin. Lee Sin's Q or Sonic Wave is the only real skill shot that you have in your kit, but if you miss this ability, it very often is the make or break moment in any duel, skirmish, or gank attempt. So how can we best maximize our chances of landing our Sonic Waves and being a more impactful Lee Sin player? Well, in order to really answer this question, we have to consider one extremely important factor when it comes to any skill shot in League of Legends. It's easier to land abilities when your target is running parallel to you than it is to land on enemies running perpendicularly, if that's even a word. For example, when you run in for a gank coming through river, more often than not, the enemy will begin retreating toward their tower. And if you try to land your Sonic Wave, it can be very easily stutter-stepped, sidestepped, or dodged through some sort of movement ability. In order to combat this, I heavily recommend looking to use W as a gap close before going for the Sonic Wave in these scenarios. By first repositioning on top of the enemy laner, it allows you to not only apply your Tempest and Cripple for a slow, but also allows you to land your Q from a parallel line of sight, making it a lot easier to ensure you don't miss. Now with that being said, there will definitely be situations where you can't do this and you are forced to try and land a Q coming from this perpendicular angle. Luckily for you, I have a very powerful solution to combating the problem of having your Q easily sidestepped. You see, when a player is forced to dodge a skill shot, their tendencies are almost always the same when coming from a perpendicular angle. And that is the backstep. The backstep in League of Legends is when a player attempts to break their path of movement and step back toward the danger in order to dodge the incoming skill shot before recontinuing their path towards safety. The lower amount of time a player has to think about the incoming skill shot, the more likely they are to instinctively go for the backstep. Understanding this tendency, you can very easily predict it. Instead of leading your Sonic Wave to where you think their character model will be, throw your skill shot ever so slightly behind them when they are running in this perpendicular pattern, and watch them backstep right into your Q. Now in lower elos like bronze and even silver, this backstep might not be as prevalent since players don't have the reaction time to even dodge, so do be warned if you are in low elos that this might not work, but gold players and onward, this tendency becomes more prevalent. This leads me into the next mechanical outplay that you can start slowly working into your mechanical arsenal as a Lee Sin player, and that is predicting movement abilities, including enemy flashes. When it comes down to it, a large amount of champions in League of Legends have abilities in their kit that give them a quick dash, leap, or port, allowing them to easily dodge any incoming skill shots. However, knowing other champions' abilities means you can anticipate this and make that super satisfying prediction outplay with your Sonic Wave. Remember when I said that the lower amount of time an enemy has to think about the incoming skill shot, the more likely they are to go for an autopiloted response to the skill shot? Well, the same rule applies for predicting movement abilities. You aren't arbitrarily trying to predict an Ezreal E, a LeBlanc W, or a ZW. You are engineering the situation to bait them into using those spells when you want them to, so that you can predict the shit out of them and get that sick outplay you crave. So how can we bait out these skills and predict them? There are two different ways you can do it: by ward hopping, by flashing, or both, preemptively before throwing out your Sonic Wave. When you put this fast-paced pressure on the enemy, they have little time to consider other dodging options and will default to their instinct, which is to use their movement spell. Alright guys, so for part 2 of today's video, it is a mechanical and combo guide, so I actually do want to jump into some actual combos that you guys can start implementing into your game if you're trying to take your Lee Sin to the next level. The first combo that I do want to get into is a combo that I've termed the DriveBy Insect. It's definitely not a new mechanic, but it's not the most common mechanic that you've probably seen on Lee Sin. And basically what the combo is it plays around the ward hop cancel mechanic that Lee Sin has. You may or may not know about this. So basically, when you throw your Sonic Wave onto a target, you know, you can ward hop and then Q. But if you do the ward hop and cancel it halfway, you can actually use all of your abilities midair, your E and your R and your flash. So basically what you can do with this is pretty cool. For one thing, you can do what I've termed the drive-by insect. So let's say you put your Sonic Wave on a target and they're behind another target. What you can do is you can cancel your ward hop and kick midair, and it's super clean. It looks super clean. It's really hard to react to, and I mean, it's style points at the very least. So you'll feel really good when you pull it off in game, but it actually does have a practical use because it's super hard to react to it. If you're like, for example, if this is a Varus or something, or an AD carry, and you land a Q on like their front line for whatever reason they're positioned like this, it's going to be really difficult for the AD carry to react to that movement and that insect. So that is the first combo that I did want to show you guys. Now, on top of the drive-by insect, this mechanic can be used in other ways as well. Like as I mentioned, you can use your ultimate and your flash when you're midair after you cancel your W animation. It is important that you understand that though. If you use W and complete your W and then Q, you can't do it. It has to be canceled midair like that. So what you can do though is you can actually kick flash instantly before getting to the target. So when you normally go for a kick flash, you have to wait till your Q completes before you can do the kick flash. If you use this ward hop canceling tactic, you can actually kick flash as you're midair, which makes it a lot cleaner. But anyways, it's gonna look like this. It's a lot faster. You can see it's a lot cleaner. Really hard to react to. And all around, if you're ever in a situation where you're like, I really need to make sure this insect goes off properly, that's when I would use it. But it's not as important. It's not a combo that I use as frequently as the drive-by because typically I'll just go for like a regular kick flash and hold on to my W so I can get out. Alright guys, so the next part of the mechanical guide and the next combos that I want to get into are what I term the extermination combos. And what I mean by that is the 4 ways that you can pretty much 100-0 an enemy given the proper situation and the right build. So the first combo, the first extermination combo that you've probably seen me do a lot if you watch my videos is the Q Flash RQ. It looks like this. And basically the whole idea of this combo is the slight delay between when you throw out your Q and when it lands on them. You can flash and use your ultimate to actually keep them in place to ensure that your Q does not miss, because there's a little suppression at the very start of your ultimate. If you look above their nameplate here, you can see that there's like a half-second root. So the idea is you Q and then flash R so that they can't move. It ensures you land your Q, and your Q obviously will not miss if you do this, assuming you don't just throw it to the left or right of them. And it's really good for situations where you're being chased. So like, let's say I'm being chased down river and I'm low health and it's somebody that I know I can one-shot, and if I don't make a decision now, I could die. And if I just turn around normally with a Q, they might dodge it. So what you want to do is if you're being chased, you just want to surprise them with a little Q Flash RQ. Now the second extermination combo that I will very often use in my game is the Q Ward Hop RQ. Very similar to the Q Flash RQ. The only difference is instead of it being instant, you do a Ward Hop and then an R like that. Now, if you're in a situation where you're being chased and you don't have Flash, this combo can still be used, though I would recommend you use the Q Flash RQ if Flash is available. This combo, in my opinion, is best used when you have the element of surprise, because it is a little bit slower of a combo, so therefore you don't want to use it if you don't have the element of surprise, because you might actually still miss your Q and screw things up. So let's say I have a pink ward in this brush and I'm going for a pick and I see someone walking. They're not in range for me to just Q RQ, but they're in range of my Q, and if I ward hop to that gap close, then I can still run the Q ward hop RQ. This is when I would use it. So let's say there's an enemy walking that way, I'll ward hop Q, boom. And obviously, this may or may not one-shot the target depending on who it is and depending on your build, but I like to do it on champions that I think I can one-shot. The next extermination combo is actually one where you have complete surprise, but you need a little bit of extra damage in order to get the full 100-0 combo and assassinate them. So if you have the element of surprise once again, or if you're just in a duel in the jungle with the enemy jungler, The best, highest damage output that you can do in the shortest amount of time is the Q, auto, E, auto, R, Q, auto. It's the most basic combo, basic extermination combo Lee Sin has, but you're only going to be able to use it in situations where you're literally in a close quarter battle with somebody with no gap close, and you know it's a duel, it's a 1v1, whatever. The fourth and final extermination combo in Lee Sin's kit is the most complex combo, I think, but also my favorite combo. It's the in and out insect. Very similar to everything I've just shown you. It's pretty much putting it all together. So it's a Q, ward hop, kick flash, Q. And this is the combo that I use when I want to go for a pick on an enemy that is standing right in front of me. They may see me, they may not see me, doesn't really matter, but I know that I have to get in and get out, hence why I called the in and out insect, because I don't want to die in the process of going for this pick. I'll hit him with the Q, ward hop, kick flash, and return to safety. It's a great way to pick off the enemy, and a great way to look cool doing it. Alright guys, so the last part of today's video is some extra tips and tricks, some miscellaneous Lee Sin mechanics that you may or may not already know about that will definitely help you in playing Lee Sin. And the first thing that I want to go over is the fact that you can actually get an auto attack off after using your ultimate on a target, assuming that you're standing in auto attack range when you use your ult. So for example, if you go to ult a target and it just barely doesn't kill them, don't worry, because you can actually get an extra auto attack off midair if you use your auto attack command. So it looks like this. Boom, midair, you get the extra auto. It's good for like just that little extra damage you need when you underestimate your ultimate's ability or overestimate your ultimate's damage and don't quite kill them. So the second mechanic I want to talk about is the over the wall insect. So let's say you're in a situation where you land your Q on a target, but they're standing up against a wall and you're like, well, I can't insect them because there's a wall there. Well, actually you can. There's some walls in the game, like this wall right here, where you can actually insect over the wall. It looks like this. And you can kick them to your team. The walls that work, I don't know all of them, but I know this wall works. I know this wall works. Honestly, most of them work. I think even this wall can work. Let's see. I'm actually going to test it out now. Yeah. So basically, don't be worried about if there's a wall behind them and you still want to insect them. It works over walls. So that's an interesting thing with Lee Sin's kit. Alright, the next thing that I want to discuss is actually, I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's meant to be in the game like this, but if you cancel your Q, your second Q midair with W, the shield actually won't work. You'll still get the reduced cooldown if it's on a friendly unit, but the shield won't work. So normally when you use W, you get a little shield for you and your ally. Well, if you have Q and then you go to use your Q and then you cancel it midair with W, the shield does not work. Now, I don't know why this is, because when you complete your Q and then do it, the shield's there. But if I do it midair, no shield. Again, I don't know if this is a glitch, but it is something to keep mental notes of, because if you're ever in a situation where you're trying to save a teammate and they're far away, so you like Q to a minion and then you try to like quickly shield them with W, make sure your Q finishes before you use W, or else they won't get the benefit of the shield. So it's just a little tip, a little trick, a little glitch maybe in the game that I wanted to make sure that you guys know, because it actually can make a big difference sometimes. The last mechanic I want to talk about in today's video is using your safeguard to dodge incoming skill shots before taking your resonating strike. So if you're in a situation, let's say you're against a Syndra, a Xerath, or a Thresh, or really anyone that has an interrupting skill shot that they can throw out in front of them, this is a great time to use your W to redirect your Q's path to completely bypass this skill shot that could be coming your way. So for example, let's say this is a Thresh. You land your Q, you know he has Flay in his kit. Instead of taking it head on and getting canceled, what you can do is simply ward hop to the side and then Q. He's going to anticipate you coming on this angle, so he flays forward, or you know, if it's a Xerath, he throws his E forward, you change up your path and come in from this angle and you completely dodge it. It's a really, really important mechanic to get down on Lee Sin, because if you're going up against good players, they're not going to let you just resonating strike in whenever you want. So it's really important that you know to change the path of your Q and get around the skill shots. Alright guys, so that will wrap up today's Lee Sin mechanical guide. This guide was definitely for those of you who are already pretty familiar with Lee Sin and want to take your Lee Sin to the next level. So if you are new to Lee Sin, I have guides that are better for beginners. Make sure you go and check them out. I'll put some of them in the description, and I'll even put one in my end screen. But other than that, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, please subscribe to my channel for more. And please leave a comment below, tell me what you thought. That is it for me. If you guys have any other ideas or any other things that you want me to go over for Lee Sin, feel free to leave it in the comments. But until next time, I'll see you guys later, and thank you for watching.
Yeah, I'm wide awake. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is all I ever wanted was to see you. All I ever wanted was to breathe. I don't know what's happening.